Champions. I am very confused by OBS's audio. I'm showing hard clipping here in the audio mixer. But it doesn't sound like it. There's no clipping. Wait, yes there is. Let's try that again. Testing. Hey, yeah. There was indeed clipping. How are we? Just gonna have a bit of a listen for a sec, because when you monitor, it shows all the effects and it shows them having an effect on the audio in the bar graph, but through the monitoring, even if you change the level on the makeup gain on the compressor, you can't hear any clipping while you're monitoring it. So I don't know. I've got to look further into how the audio engine works, because it doesn't make sense from a professional audio point of view. Testing. Hey, yeah. Put the ratio right at max, 32:1. Hey, it still clips. Why? This should be a limiter. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Yo. That does not make sense from an audio point of view. I'll just leave it in limiting mode for the moment. Yeah, I don't get that. I have to talk to Lyle about that. He's delved into it. That does not make sense at all. Anyway, now I've messed up my audio settings again. I had them sorted there for a while. We're just back to just clean up a few loose ends. Champions. Now I've got my voice back from this morning's stream. So here we have a Hughes & Kettner Tube Meister 36. That was the one with the switch. Just got back to it after I closed today. About 4:08 in the afternoon, and just thought you might want to have a look at the guts of this thing. Look at what happens when you change the power mode. So here I've got 4 meters using my proprietary little Novel bias probes, because these amps in particular are very tricky to get into to take measurements. So it's handy having all 4 there, so you can show what happens to you know, the cathode current as you change the power mode. So at the moment we're in 36 watt mode. If we go to 18, you see the inner 2 turn off. That's showing DC current, milliamps on the cathode. That's using the actual ammeter in the meter, and I've got a probe which breaks the plate connection. So if I measure from chassis to those probes, we can measure the help if I was in DC mode, we can measure the voltage on there, which is 358 volts DC. 358. So that's because it's cutting the cathode. That's still showing 358 on the valves that aren't active. 358. All right, so we've got 358 on all the plates, and that's showing the current. And you'll notice, so that's 18 watt mode. Go to 5 watt mode. You'll notice there's no change. That's because it doesn't change the valve configuration in the 5 watt and the 1 watt in the silent mode. All it does is introduces, see these power resistors down here? They're like 5 watt wire wounds across there. It brings them in and out of circuit. So that forms a attenuator, as if you've got a L pad, like a voltage divider in the circuit with the speaker. And then you go to 1 watt, no change on the valve current there, but it's just introducing some different resistances there on the speaker output. A pretty smart way of offering many different power levels. Got kind of complex, a lot of relays and stuff, quite a bit to go wrong, some switching and stuff going on. Mark, how you going, mate? Can everyone hear me and stuff all right? Just normally expect a comment or two by now. Everyone's probably asleep. Just thought I'd do an afternoon live stream for the Euroids. How's the audio sounding? Is it clipping? Yeah, probably would get pretty hot in operation. It is already emitting quite a bit of heat, but when it's turned around the other way, the heat from the valves is going upwards. So no real heat build up. But yeah, it is pumping a fair bit of heat into the chassis if you do crank it in the 5 watt and 1 watt modes, because it's getting soaked up by those resistors quite a bit. So we'll go back to 36 mode. I've checked for stability, and all is well. It was very bright, however. You probably remember in the last last live stream when I first tested it out, super bright, rip your ears off bright. So what I did was removed one component and added another. I'll show you what I did. So we have a look at the schematic here. I removed. So this is where the signal gets split into the 3 channels. So you've got crunch gain down here. That's a dual gain pot paralleled up. A little bit like how Orange always do it. That's lead gain, another dual gain pot. And you can see all the connections are paralleled. They're all common. And then you've got clean gain over here, which is just a single gain pot. And you've got C23, which is 100 picofarad. Bright cap, treble bleed essentially, going around the pot. And I just removed that. And I made sure I removed it properly. So, because the ceramic was right down against the board and showing no bare lead, I actually crushed the ceramic. It was just a shitty ceramic. Just crushed it, and then that allowed me to get the soldering iron on the leads and remove them without damaging the through hole plating holes. So if it ever wants to get returned to stock, you can just reuse those holes and carefully insert one with short leads and solder it in situ. But that really laid back the cutting top end and made the clean channel a bit warmer and more natural sounding. It sounded almost like an acoustic simulator before. It was really cutting and really full on. And then the other thing I did was, where was I? Oh yeah, down on the phase inverter. It's got 22 pico across the 2 plates. I tested a few values, and because on the drive channel it still sounded a bit buzzy. It didn't sound like a nice beefy gutsy overdrive. It sounded like a buzzy sort of bees in a can, ice picky, almost like an 80s solid state tone, just way too much top end. So I changed that. Well, I left that one in situ, left that one in place because it was difficult to get to, and just landed on 100 across that. So we've got 122 pico, and I mounted the 100 directly on the valve socket because there was room. I could pass through the socket holes and mount it nicely, and that's really smoothed it over and given it a lot of guts. It's getting towards like Dirty Shirley territory now, which of course you know is my bag. So down there you can see that. Probably shouldn't point in a live amp. There's a Vishay ceramite down there between pin 1 and pin 6 on the phase inverter, so that's really smoothed stuff out, and it sounds a lot more organic and natural now if you want to use buzzwords. So I think the customer will be very happy with that, and here's a viewer. So we'll do some quick sound samples. I'll just give you a quick demo and take some measurements and then get this one back together ready for pickup. Oh, the other thing was one of the tongue sol valves. Interesting. The leads are out of spec in terms of thickness, so the valve socket wasn't holding onto it. So not only that, but it was humming, and it was in the It was probably has heater to cathode leakage, and that's probably because that was used in the cathode follower position, where the heater to cathode installation on Russian-made valves just isn't up to the task. So there was a Chinese-made generic valve in there. You can read that as Ruby. So I'll put that in the phase of in the cathode follower position, and it was happy there. So then I swapped this one into V1, but I think the damage has already been done to that, because as soon as I put it in, there was a massive hum, and it also tried to fall out of the socket very easily. So I put a Electro Harmonix 7025 in its place, and it was much firmer to put in the socket without, you know, being anything to do with the socket itself. And super quiet. A little bit of hum there from, we've got the master way up, and we've got the lighting and stuff interfering where normally that'd be shielded by the bottom lid. And you can see down here there's a little part where they've masked it before powder coating, and that lines up to a bit on the bottom lid where they've masked it as well. Just put a bit of tape across there during the powder coating process, so that enables a good contact to ground. Oh, hiccups. Why do I always get hiccups when I'm streaming? Weird. Guitar. You still mic'd up? Yep. Holy sick, bro. Alright. I'll just mute myself, and you can watch the plate current jump around as I play. She lives in a bungalow. There you go. So, Still pretty bright, but it's like about, I don't know, 50% as bright as it was before. It was like brighter than AC30 top boost territory before, which with any single coil pickup is quite a confronting experience. So let's take some measurements, and I'll just get my notepad 1 second. Alrighty then. What do I work on? H&K tube. We should call it a valve meister in Australia. Tube Meister 36. What's the date today? The watch hand's right over the date number. 6. I don't know what day it is, let alone the date. We're on 70 watts from the wall. Mains. Idle current, standby. Today the mains is 240.6 volts. Play current 70. Power consumption 70 watts. Standby 42 watts. Part 2, brother. That's right. That's right, Chris. 42 watts. Just doing a late stream for the Uroids, if any are around. Standby. So now we'll check our voltage. Oh, let's do the bias. B plus, C plus. Now I've got to find where all my voltages are hidden away. So we can do that with the schematic. Generally what it's for. I am your champion. A, B, C, D. Pull up the schematic. Just have a quick look at the power supply. You know what? There's a hum adjustment trim pot. So I wonder if putting that tongue sole back in and then seeing if I can shift it. Nah, it would have been compromised from using it in the cathode follower position. We could try it though, I guess, but just pop it in there and no, its pins are too thin anyway. Don't worry, don't mind me. I'm just verbal diarrhea as usual. Alright, where's the power supply? Down here. She's a complex old circuit. I think I showed you last time. Mycosis. Late stream. It's Saturday Arvo. 420 it sure is. 424 now, in fact. But I live at the workshop now, didn't I tell you? Because Michelle's married to netball, I just moved into the shop, you know. So I just sleep under the bench here. Just kick out the speakers and stuff and curl up like a faithful hound. I love that they gave us the schematic for the LED strip. Thank you for that one. I suppose it's got to go on a circuit board, doesn't it? Where the fuck is the power supply? It's the output stage. Oh, here we are. All right. So we've got B plus 390. So what were we measuring? I got the HP up because I'm using all my meters on the cathode current. Where am I? Oh, down here. 349. 349. I'm saying it should be 390. Huh. 380, 470, and that's R51. There you are. So Kona with a screen node is, and R53 is probably another power resistor somewhere. Where are you? Where far art thou? You're only a 2 watter. Should be down that end somewhere. Where on earth is R53? Carmen San Diego. They're the screen grids. You know what? I was going to change those screen grids, wasn't I? I'm just worried it might fuck up the BIOS circuit. Because they've only got, oh no, they're 1K. Sorry, I'm reading the bands wrong. Yeah, no, that's good. Good on you. Good on you, using Kettner. 1K screen grids on an EL84. Bloody legends. 390. Yeah, so we should be having 390 on all those anodes, but really got 349. So we're a good 41 volts below what they're advertising. That's interesting. Maybe they tone back the voltage with a revision at some point with the transformer because they were blowing up EL84s. 390 is massive. Oh, having a time check. Yep, 10:24, 8:25, 11:25. You got to say AM or PM. Rax effects. I know you're in Europe, so you'd be 8:25 AM. Lou, you're in the US, so you'd be 11:25 PM. Or Chris. Needed some chat. Too late to run the belt sander. You're making a baritone guitar. That's awesome. Yeah, happy breakfast, Rax effects. You're making a bloody guitar. That's cool, man. Belt sander. One of the great things about having noisy neighbors, all with dogs, and living next to the train is you never have to worry about making noise. Yes. Living next to the train's pretty handy too. I'd be willing to put up with the noise just for convenience sake. You get used to it though, eh? Like I used to live by a highway, I used to live by a train track. You just get used to it after a while. You don't even notice it. It takes about 2 weeks, and then you just don't hear it anymore, eh? Know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's measure. Pop the probe in there. Oh, cops are after me. What's going on? Oh, there's a fire engine. He only just put his alarm on too. 349 on that side. 343 on that side. Screen node 343. Alright, next node. It's the R53 that I was looking for. So that is a 4.7K. That's R131. Where on earth is R53, bro? Should be right there. Ah, there you are, you cheeky little bugger. R53. On one side, 316. 316. On the other side, 343. Goes from 343 to 316. Never mind the clicking and stuff, that's just the meter switching its ranges. Using the HP 34401A like you've seen on Frankie's channel. We're fancy boys. Fancy. Alright, R54 is just a lowly 1 watter on one side. 282. The other side should be the same as Phase Inverter Node 316. That's right. 282. 282. Not phase inverter, that was the previous one. That's the first preamp. So then R99. I saw you somewhere. Where were you? Oh yeah, there you are. Good to see they've stuck with their margins on this too. 243. One of the other guys making their Marshall boards was flashing around some low resolution photos, and none of them are publishing high resolution photos because they're afraid for people to reverse engineer them, which I thought was rather funny. 243. But yeah, you look up close and there's no margins, and I know what pins are what because I've spent fucking days staring at that layout. So having a look up close, there was some with look like less than a millimeter margins to the HT, and some of the worst is the plate connections because they've got the high voltage on them, but then they've got the signal swinging on top, so the peak voltage differential there can be fucking massive, like 1,000 volts. That's like where it's going to arc over. And there was a thing I did on my boards, which this guy was very lucky. He ordered 2 of the same boards yesterday. So I literally was about to hand them over at the post office when I see a message come through saying, "Oh, sorry, I ordered and paid for 2 by accident." Like, wouldn't you notice that it's like double what you expected when you go to check out? But anyway, he just grabbed me, but I had to friggin' come back and do another shipping thing. You can see here, sorry, we're on a tangent again. I removed one of the pins in the valve socket, because on the other side, one of the plate connection passes under that. So that gives you your adequate margins. But yeah, see how there's no grain plow? Oh, it's time to go home. No ground plane on that side because you don't need it. It's the power supply and output circuitry. But all the guys, all these pro board designers, disparaging my lack of ability or something, I don't know. They put ground planes everywhere, like on the power supply, on the output stage. They just ground plane everything because it's just by default. I don't know why. Andy Mac, welcome to the club, brother. Is it time? Is it time to... It is time, I think, to give away more thingies, or did I do that last time? Are there any left? Membership gifting. Yeah! Yep, we're up for 10 more membership gifts. So there's the first 5. Now, remind me before I go to give away the last 5, right? I just got to keep you around till the end. Michelle got one. Oh no, she can go back and see all my dodgy members only videos that I've hidden from her. So what it does is it just goes off the people that most hang out here, unless you're already a member, and then it randomly chooses from them. Lou, yeah. How come you haven't got one yet? You're always here. You should be the first in line. I wish I could have some influence over who gets one, but there doesn't seem to be any way to do that, so... Scene from Blues Brothers comes to mind. Yeah, Elwood's flat. What a scene. So... What are we up to? 393. 1, 2... that's B, C, D... E and F. Alright, so we've got all our nodes. Next, bias supply, which is always fluctuating because it's being controlled by the computer, the confuser. Where can I get at that? So pin 1, 2, 3. Hang on. I always forget which pin. Pin 2. I know my octal valves, but I always forget the novels. Oop, oscillation. Well, we can't do that. Oh, that one's not oscillating. That's oh, hang on, that's preamp valve, you dumbass. All right, minus 14.5. Okay, that's close enough. Minus 14.5 volt DC. Now I'll just check the ripple on those HT nodes. We'll switch it over to AC. I love using that HP. The display's so beautiful. It's so pretty, isn't it? 2.3 volts AC on the, well, 2.3 volts ripple. I won't say AC because it's not alternating. But yeah, ripple on the B+. Now on the screen node, we've got about 70 millivolts. Must be pretty heavy capacitance on that one. What have we got on the screen node? We've got 68 microfarad. Not massive, but yeah. Which side of 53 was I looking at? I think 16 on that side, 343 on that side. So you see about 10 millivolts ripple on the phase inverter node. First preamp node. Sometimes hard to get a stable measurement with stuff fluctuating. 6 millivolt. Millivolt. Heater supply. I believe the first two are DC, are they not? No? No, they're all AC. Okay. Between pin 9, pin 4 and 5. 6.4 volts AC. I'll just switch it into standby and turn on the scope, so please excuse the high frequency whining from the flyback. We'll go into the doomy load. Run it into 8 ohms. Just fire up the signal generator. Oh, she's fired up. 1 kilohertz. 400 millivolts peak to peak. The fucking giveaway membership the second I join. Sorry, mate. Let's turn the master down until we get a level. Oop. All right, let's see what she's got. Hitting the wall there at 16 volts. RMS in 36. What did I say? 16 volts. 32. Pmax. PP max. 36 watt mode. It's 32 watts. RMS. In 18 watt mode. Which now works. Hitting the wall at 9.5. It's at 11.3. Just call that 11 watts. In 5 watt mode. Just on 5 volts RMS. 5 squared divided by 8. 3 watts. In 1 watt mode. Change my range for that one. Hitting the wall at 2 volts. It's like half a watt. Hey! Thanks, Unusual Things, you legend. Bloody awesome. Clean if we, see if we can't clean up some stragglers. High Frequency Whining is a perfect title for a Billy Corgan solo album. Nasal Boy. Canuck Abroad. Canuck. I don't know. A lot of those people aren't here at the moment, but they'll see it when they log in next. I'm here so we can start live stream now. How you going, AP? What is AP530? It sounds like a gun name. So we'll go back to 36 watt mode. And at full power, we're drawing 119 watts from the wall. Sweet as, bro. Have I forgotten anything else? No, I think that's it. Just notes. Replace one 12AX7 tongue sole. With EHX 7025. All this info goes on the invoice, by the way, champions. I try to be as open as I can with the customer to gain their trust and just to keep them fully informed, legends. And replacement switch. Illuminated. God, I forgot how to spell illuminated there for a second. Rightio, that's about everything on this one. So I'll clean the pots, retension the valve sockets. So we'll just power it down, let it cool for a bit. I'll clean that acrylic on the front panel. I'll show you my current probes, which I don't sell because they're kind of dangerous. I've got no way of knowing if the person using them is going to be, you know, skilled and experienced. It'd be amazing if there were board views and it went into open board data. So do you mean like just like a layout with the schematic so you can skip between the two? That service manual I showed you is actually one of the best using Kettner ones. Fantastic. So Let's start from the start. It's got a table of contents, layout of even the bias board. A lot of these manufacturers, like the DV marks and stuff, they'll have an automatic bias board, even the Fender ones, but they won't go into detail on the board like it was made by a third party and there's no documentation anywhere. And if something goes wrong on this board, you're pretty much fucked, because you don't have any reference for anything. But it even shows you the layout there, which is kind of cool. It's like, oh, that's a reverb PCB, so that's got a spin FV1, I think. That's that little chucha. Oh, hang on, wrong view. So that's this little chucha down here. That little thing sitting on its back. I believe that's a spin FV1. It's actually a pretty good sounding reverb in this one. I think it depends how good you are at using that chip as to whether or not you get a good reverb sound out of it, because I've heard some pretty horrible reverb sounds out of that chip, or that type. So back to the service manual. There you got your mainboard layout, both sides, top side and bottom, all the silk screening shown on there. So you can search that too, because they're actually like actual you know, true type fonts, not just graphics, not a raster. As you scroll down, that's your rear PCB. Shows the components floating in midair too, which is nice of them. And then your schematic starts. Got a schematic for the reverb module. Is that a spin? NEMFX. I'm not sure what that is. Probably, if you were to flip it over, you'd probably realize it's a spin FV1. It's your preamp, foot switching and whatever, your output stage, and your connectors to the bias board, and that's your rear board, that's your LED strip, and that's your bias regulator. That's your bias board. It says with LEDs, so maybe the external LEDs might be shown, just indicative. But yeah, they're on the main board. Then you got a bill of materials. So that's about as good as you can expect from anyone. It even gives you a exploded view. So you can tell it's all computerized, the design of this thing. Vacuum tube compactor. No, it's not. Sometimes that comes off the footprint, whatever software they're using. Yeah, that's about as good as you can expect for that kind of thing. Learning there has never been a Hughes and Kettner. Learning there has never been a Hughes or Kettner was entertaining. They just like the way those names are. Really? I didn't know that. Hughes and Kettner. It's a bit like, what was the Wolf of Wall Street, the firm name they just made up off the top of their head. Stratton something. Just make up what sounds like an important sounding name. Alright, so let's lay it on its face. Check we've got no stray voltages on those probes. You can see all the valves there mounted with a little probe underneath. I made those things years ago for this very amp. In fact, we got 1.2 millivolts. Oh, that's AC. Don't do that trick, champions. That's how you can shock yourself. We've got 900 millivolts and falling. We'll just disconnect those meters. Put away the Fluke Flex. Stratton Oakmont, that's right. Just finished staking my 6G, 6B single channel board and tacking things down. I'm learning to set up the Strat right now. Nice. Yeah, I've got a video on setting up guitars. Go and check that out. Probably 2 years ago or something now. I don't think I had a beard for that one, so it might be a bit of a shock to see me. A bit of a, what do they call it? A stun lock. That's what the kids call it. Dang kids and their stun locks. So, zoomy time. So see down there? little things in the base. This is draft one of my bias probes. I'm going to redesign them and make them more compact so they can fit in some of the amps that have very small but recessed holes in the chassis. I'm going to make them smaller with the Ruby style sockets, which are no bigger than the glass envelope itself. So that way you'll be able to get right down inside and put it inside like a mesa boogie or something where the board's fucking half a mile from the chassis. But what they are essentially is a PCB. And I found the exact size pins that a valve has. You can order bags of them from DigiKey. They're not cheap. They're like 80 cents each or something per pin because they are machined. But it's got a socket on top, and the PCB has like a break between the plate and the plate pin on the pin and the socket, and then that's where these two silicon leads tap off and go to two banana plugs over here. So that way you're tapping into the plate. So there is plate voltage present on those pins, and or one of them when it's not plugged in, and you can just plug it straight into your ammeter on your Fluke or whatever, and measure the anode current directly. Now I did make a cathode current one, which was a bit shit because it had a sense resistor on the board, and if you ever had a shorter valve, that sense resistor would blow, and you'd have to cut back the heat shrink and replace the sense resistor, and it'll often cause a bit of damage. So what I should have done is made one, but with an ammeter still, but for cathode current, so that the voltage would be negligible and a lot safer to use. And you'd also bias a bit on the safe side because you'd be taking into account screen current as well. So I like these because they're plate, and I want to know the full story, champions. But not very safe for your average Joe. Gringo Pig, how you going, champ? Because yeah, everyone makes bias probes for octal valves. Like you can get them from Weber, and Euro Tubes have one as well, which I used for years before I just went to my transformer DCR method, which is way quicker and easier. Just got to do a bit of math, but we're not afraid of that. But no one makes them for Noble valves because they're too small and compact. So I had to come up with a solution for these kind of amps where you can't easily access the guts, and some of the orange amps and stuff too, which are a bit squeezy. And that way you don't have to run the thing half disassembled just to get a friggin' bias measurement. So, happy days. The valves weren't blown, so that's good. And now it's ended up, in my opinion, sounding better than it did from factory. Nice, bit smoother sounding without affecting any of the auto bias brain boxery. Just simple voicing mods, which in my opinion, I wouldn't even really call a mod. Voicing changes, really. You're not changing the structure of the thing or anything. You're just tweaking the top end a bit in this case. They are pretty cool little amps, to be honest. Not a huge fan of how squeezed together everything is, but if you're not using them for gigging, for just a home amp, practicing and stuff, if you're not going to leave it on 24/7, they're pretty neat little amps, to be honest. So much in the one little space. Anything more than that, if you need anything more than that, you're just gonna have to go modeling, man, because the feature set in this thing is massive for what it is. You got 3 independent channels. You got reverb, which I didn't show you, but that's on the back. You got a DI box. You got all these different power levels. You got silent mode. You got an effects loop. You've got effects loop there. You've got foot switch for reverb and effects loop, and you got a foot switch for channel switching, and it's got friggin' MIDI built in, bro. MIDI. So much room for activity. Not really. But the Grandmeister was ridiculous because it's got like built-in multi-effects too. But the Grandmeister, in my opinion, is too compressed. There's another circuit board at the front because all your effects batch of buttons and settings down the bottom here. So on the Grandmaster, there's another board mounted which pretty much fills this gap too, and you literally could not fit anything more in that amp. So I think this is the good compromise, and keep your effects separate to your amp. It's just trying to do too many things at once, champions. Alrighty then, let's clean off my finger marks. That switch tip transferred over to the new switch. Yeah, it's the same brand, same series, just wrong button size spec. I studied that that data sheet too. So yeah, I just swapped it over. So now it's got the new contacts. So we've avoided the reusing the one where the plating was sanded through. But we've got the old plunger, which is compatible. Yeah, pain in the ass. You think you got everything, and you always miss something, you know. You try so hard to keep everyone pleased and be efficient, and you know, only order and pay as much shipping as you need to, and all of that. But no matter how careful you are and how considerate, you always miss something. Shit happens. It's not the fuck up, champions. It's how you fix it that matters. I'm rocking the suburbs, just like your mama did. Except that she was talented. Cramming everything into a hard to work on but well-built mess is a well-trodden German tradition, yeah. See any of the bi-turbo V8s, BMW, Audi, Merc, all of them crammed in like sardines. Yeah, I don't know why they do it. I guess they want it to look like super impressive and slim and taut and svelte from the outside. I guess I get it. Alright, so the one with the lock washer is the handle one. Rocking the suburbs. Michelle and I like to play a little game where a song comes on, and we sing it in the most like bogan Australian accent we possibly can. Instead of rocking the suburbs, it'd be like, I'm rocking the suburbs, just like John Bon Jovi did. And try and make each other laugh. It's usually on road trips. So what's for dinner, champions? Should have something healthy. I had leftover pizza for lunch, or for breakfast really, smoko. And then I had sushi for lunch. I guess sushi's pretty healthy. Cover Yoko Ono songs with an Aussie accent. So what did you say your name's about, AP530? Like I said, it sounds like a gun. Did I miss your comment? Six, how you going? What do you do when K-San comes on then? Singing in full... No, you're singing in the air. You're singing in the Nashville accent then. Singing the hillbilly. Rocking the suburbs. K-San. Excellent song, but fucking thrashed to death. Apparently all the Vietnam vets, when it came out, they're like, how the fuck does he know exactly what it feels like to be a Vietnam vet? Apparently all the lyrics and stuff, they're like, that's exactly how I feel. You're sort of lost and don't really belong anywhere and living day to day, you know, kind of deal. What's stopping you from going down? That's what your mum said. Ah! go. Okay, Shane, what's going on, mate? More my time zone. Where are you at? I don't think I've ever heard the unedited version of Rock on the Suburbs before. When you listen to Double J, they play the unedited version of songs because they don't give a fuck because they don't have any ads. They're not trying to jam 1,500 ads in one break. So they just play the full song, unedited, the album versions, and it's great. It's fucking brilliant, mate. Last train out of Sydney. It's last plane out of Sydney. Because he's going to China. I made rap beats in the early 2000s and didn't want to use my name, so I came up with AP. The violent rapper AP9 wouldn't approve of that, so I added my area code to avoid any confusion. Hence AP530. Well, now we know where you live. Cool. Got some hip-hop fans. I'm in Perth. Don't wake up at 5 AM on a Saturday. Nah, I don't reckon you would. Not Eastern time zone anyway. I love making beats. I've got a stack of samplers and old school gear here in the shop. Yeah, you should break out one of those Jap Roland things, whatever they are. Yamaha Roland. I was looking at the there's one that was an FM synth. It looked a bit like those ones you've got there, 6. It was really weird sounding. You see them pop up from time to time, but it was really, really avant-garde. Based on the TX8 something or whatever it was, the Yamaha thing. FM operator, smooth operator. Wonder where they got that. I wonder if that's where the song came from, because it was an FM synth they were using. I miss having thousands of LPs to sample from, but that was heavy addiction. What? You got rid of them? Yeah, having old jazz records and shit, they're just an endless possibility of samples there. That's how you make the really cool, badass sounding shit too. The real, you know, trip hop type stuff. Old jazz records. Get a bit of that double bass. Oh, Peaches is on. Love Peaches. Fatherfucker. They say they don't like my crotch because it's got hairy spots. Fuzzy spots. I sold them for food. Fuck. Selling your records for food. Having said that, some records you could eat for months off selling. FM synths are fun. Sampling is its own genre. Oh, is its own game. Sorry, I read that wrong. I've got an Ensonic EPS16 Plus here that sounds killer for that. An ADR10 would be cooler, but the EPS16 Plus is great. A couple of regret. That's life. Man, to make you feel better, I had a customer in this week who sold his 1972 Super Lead for $300. 300 Australian dollars. He sold his 1972 Super Lead and cabinet. Fucking hell, man. I said, do you know what they're worth now? And he goes, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I said, okay, as long as you know. Poor bugger. Felt really bad for him, eh? Because he had no idea what they were worth. He just needed cash and he was young and dumb. Did I tighten all those screws? when did he sell them? I think he said 90s. Don't ask me about autographed Nirvana LP. I bought a copy of Hangar 18 Megadeth. God, that would have been, I would have bought that in the 90s. And it was $10 at some market or something. I took it home, and back in the day when you're a kid, you read all the lyrics in the book as you're listening to it when you have time. I should do that again, you know. Sit there and just zone out, turn off all the devices, just listen to a record and read the liner notes. So good and relaxing. But yeah, as a kid, you get obsessed and you read all the lyrics and the album liner notes and whatever. And I opened up the booklet in the CD, and it had all their signatures in it, and got it for $10. We've all sold gear too cheap. Yeah, I sold a quad box for like $250 once because I was putting stuff on eBay and I had to move house, so I wanted to get rid of stuff as soon as possible. So I put everything on for like back in the day. It was a trend to list stuff for like $1 on eBay, and that would attract the most attention when you first list it. This is like 15 years ago, more. So sometimes you list something for like, I don't know, 50% of its market value and no one had even bid on it. But then you list something for $1 and then it sucks all these people in and they get invested in it, and then you end up at a higher price. But yeah, by the time I listed it, that trend had ended. So it only got up to like $280 or something. I was like, fuck. Yeah, so back then they weren't worth shit. They were just players' gear, same as SLR 5000 Toronto. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. But yeah, I mean, same with houses, you know. You're like, oh, I fucking sold the house for this. It's, yeah, but the market's gone, you know. Sort of relative too with housing. Like, you sell a house that's worth 1.5 million. It's like, oh, fuck, that's a lot of money. But unless you move to the middle of fucking nowhere, the next house you buy is going to be like 1.2 million. So if you wait, it's going to be 1.8 million. Yay, housing. I sold a Mark 1. I sold a Mark 1 Escort for $200. Oh, good on you, champ. Oh, Johnny boy. That sucks. No pictures. Seller said it had cracks in the finish. Wow, for $325. Yeah, I mean, I hear some of my mates getting these wicked bargains, and I'm like, fuck, where'd you find that? I get the occasional one, but it's pretty rare. The market today is absolute garbage for used gear now. I've got stuff that would have sold in an hour 12 months back hanging there with 0 inquiries. Yeah. Brad, what's a good 10-inch bass combo amp to mic for recording? Ooh, if it's for recording only AP, I'd probably go with like a Portaflex. Portaflex? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, the Ampeg thing, the 15 watt valve thing. Well, you know what? If you weren't locked into the 10-inch, or if you want to use a separate cabinet, a Fender Bassman, man, an old Bassman for that recording tone, like a Bassman 50 or something, would be gold. Depends what kind of sound you're going for. Yeah, like Six says, 90% of bass recording is direct to console. Not many people miking up bass amps for recording. Depends on the style. If you're doing the retro-y thing, like, you know, the Khruangbin type whatever, or you know, if you want like that Carol K bloody sound, the easiest way to do it's just a mic in front of a speaker cab with a valve bass amp. But if you want a modern distortion sound or a modern bass sound, just plug in direct DI into the console and use plugins. But if you want to have fun with miking and stuff, I'd like to have a little P15, whatever it is, that Ampeg. Having said that, I've used just my little Marshall 18 watt and played bass through that, and it sounds fucking incredible with just a little bit of hair on it, a little bit of overdrive. You get that retro sound. Carol K and the Wrecking Crew were straight into the console with DI. Really? I thought she used I thought they used some mics on some of that stuff. I know the tone in my head that I'm thinking of. I'm just trying to think of a good example. Well, you know what's a good example? Let's get a copyright strike, eh? I'll just play a tiny second of it. Hopefully we won't get flagged. Even if we do, who cares? I'll just delete it. How can I look up history? History. Library? History. Come on. What am I thinking of? Yeah. Right, so listen to this sound. I reckon this is just a single 12-inch. Let me just sample it for a sec. All right, we'll just quickly listen to this and hopefully not long enough to get a copyright strike. Listen to this bass tone. Hang on, it's not working. Wait. Alright, desktop audio, where do you come from? Properties. Device, default. No, you come from that. Okay, let's try that again. Just one sec. So did you catch that? It sounds like this frequency heavy cut off from the cone, from the speaker cone, like being just a non-full range speaker. I love that sound. I reckon it sounds fantastic. I hope you heard that okay. So that's the I'll just share the song and you can go listen to it. It's a really I don't know, it's one of those songs that just, it's so fucking weird. I listen to it non-stop for a while. Just get obsessed with it. Where am I? Here we go. Sounds like Pink Floyd and Beatles made a Bapt band. What's a Bapt band? Baby band. I wouldn't thought that was DI. Would have thought that was DI. You reckon? Sounds to me like it's a limited frequency response from a speaker. From like, it sounds to me like either maybe a 15-inch speaker he's running that through and then mic'd up. That's just, I don't know, that's just what I think it sounds like. I might be wrong. Yeah, that's the sound that can be made by direct, usually splitting the signal. Yeah, you can also do stuff like running compressors in a way to get that similar tone. Yeah, so splitting the signal, what Six is talking about there, it's hard to get the bottom end extension. I reckon, because that's not a super deeply extended bass sound, I think that's probably all speaker, but maybe like a 15-inch with maybe a condenser in front of it. Yeah, you can just roll the tops off, but you get a little bit of interesting stuff happening from the speaker and the cabinet and everything. It's sort of like when you, to me, when you just use a plug-in, at least most of the ones I've used anyway, it's sort of one-dimensional. Like you get, unless it's a full-on modeling thing, you get like, you know, limited frequency response, a little bit of overdrive, but you don't get like the cabinet, the mic, the distance from the mic, the position of the mic in relation to the cone. All of that comes together and massively changes the tone. Have you ever put like a directional mic in front of a speaker and just moved it like 5 millimeters? It completely changes. Just like real air. So do I. I live off it, in fact. I love my Alembic F1X Pre, which is Fender based. Okay. Yeah, a speaker is, yeah, it's like, a speaker's like a resonant filter, true. So yeah, you can probably get close enough for rock and roll using plugins or even just effects. Even if it's not plugins, just outboard. Let's put that away. I've got all I need to invoice that one now. Pop it in its little baggie. Wonder what the wife's doing. Clank. Yeah, you need clank on the attack. Hard getting a good clank. You need the clank. Interesting to see if that little section gives me a copyright strike or not. Or, you know, a copyright claim. They won't strike. I've never been striked before. Struck? Striked? Struck. I've never been struck before. Till your mum came along. Am I right? Ah! I think my phone's dead. You dead, phone? It goes to 10%, then it just goes to 0 instantly, eh? It's fucking Samsung for you. Alright, Hughesy can go away. Off you go, Hughesy. And what can we do next? We can do valve state. Yay. I did talk to the owner of the Vibrolux today. And he was happy with the plan, as I suggested. Basically make it as good as it can be in its current configuration and then do any voicing changes from there. Which is funky dory. You watch, the missus is going to get back and go, you still live stream? Did you live stream all day? No. Two notes makes good software for modeling. Bass is a whole art when recording. That's why you always split the signal to have two different components to cover the frequencies in different ways. Yeah, sorry, I started saying that before. You split the signal up into frequency bands. So you allow the bottom end to go through pretty well clean, or you can do different compression to that. Sort of like multi-band compression, but you can also distort the top end a bit, because if you distort the fundamental frequencies, you just end up with a fucking fuzz pedal sound, like almost like a synth. But if you split the signal up, don't distort the bass and fundamentals, and then only distort the top end, that's how you get that heavy as fuck, like Machine Head, I mean the band Machine Head type fucking metal tone. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the dark glass pedals and stuff do that kind of thing. They split it up, distort the top, leave the bottom clean, maybe compress the bottom end, and then mix it back together at the output. You used to have to do that. Well, you can still do that with the you can do that in like Pro Tools or whatever internally, and then just patch in distortion or outboard on whatever. The world is your oyster, champions. Saturation plugin. Okay. I started with Wall of Sound. Is that a plugin done? Is that like a type of plugin? Got a Bogner Shiva. That's pretty well done. I just got to change the suppression cap on the switch on that because it's blown up like they'll do. Mesa tri-axis. I don't want to do you. Alright. Better not be 120 volt. God damn it. Well, what voltage are you? I love how Mesa just don't adhere to any international electrical standards, eh? 240 volt. Stickers down there. Alright, what's wrong with you? One of the channels was completely dead, I think. One of the modes. Alright, all the displays are working. Ooh. Shutter speed. Persistence of vision. Yeah. God, I don't miss these things. Alright, let's give it some signal. 2Note software, they've changed it to Genome. Okay, so that's the name of it. Has this got an emulated output? Record, no. It's been a while since I looked at one of these. Just plug it into the little MG10. What a touring rig. Mesa tri-axis into a Marshall MG10. Poor Penny boy's trying to focus. It's no avail. Shush. Oh, nice. That sounds fucking horrible at 1K, so I'll change that to 400 hertz. Let's go 200 hertz. Pray to God the LDRs aren't bad. I don't pray to gods. Alright. Mode. Okay, lead red is dead. So the red lead one channel is dead. I wish I had a decent amp to play this through. What have we got? Nah, too hard. Let's try and familiarise myself with these things and the tone controls that do nothing if your gain's above 3. Dynamic voice, which is just a scoop, a bit like the graphic EQ and a V pattern. Fucking hot output on these things. I seem to remember that. Because it's supposed to go into a, just a power amp. Okay, so we're on lead 1, but lead 2 drive is what's changing the drive, and lead 1 drive is doing nothing. So if I go to that one, why is lead 1 working on... Okay, so lead 2 is working on both. No, sorry. So lead 1's not doing anything in any situation. Okay, so lead 2 is the only drive control that works. Oh, sorry. Noise gate says no. There we go. Well, it's horrible sounding glory. So lead 1 drive isn't changing anything at any setting. And lead 2 drive is changing. Even on the rhythm channel, lead 2 drive is changing. So lead 2 drive is always engaged. It should only be engaged when you're on lead 2. And lead 1 isn't changing anything anywhere. So that's fun. What else doesn't work? So he didn't tell me that. He told me that lead 2 is just no signal. Rhythm. Man, I don't miss these things, eh? God, I'm playing like shit. Yeah, so it probably is LDR being fucked. So that's fun. Unobtainium, you say. £9. That's enough for two. That's enough for a pint. Have a beer on the way home. I think I might after that. Let's see what the missus is doing. I've kind of neglected her the last couple of weekends. It's payback time because she's neglecting me the next few weekends. Should go spend some time with her. I might call it quits soon, champions. Just a quick how you going, an audio test. Vactrol City. Yeah, they use Vactrols for everything when there's much better solutions around. I like what they used in the Marshall JMP one. Much more professional solution in my opinion. 5 more memberships, yes. 1 second, I'll get to it. Alrighty. Now the Penny Boy's got something to focus on instead of a matte black top panel. Rightio. Looks like there's a few mods in here. I don't know if it's from the factory or not. There's a resistor up on end down here. 5 watt. Another one in series with it. Is that dropping the heater voltage? Alright, so then the unobtainium Vactrols 6 was referring to are these ones down here, I believe. See the ones with the 4 leads? You can get these ones with the 3 leads. You can get these ones with the 2 leads. You get the one with the 4 leads. Not so much. Alright, I'll do it now. Membership gifting. 75. Alright, you got it. Hold your breath. Grooved. Briggs. Oh, that's James. Alan Stokes. Kenneth Widener and Brendan. Sorry, mate. Sorry, Chris. You didn't get one this time. Why does it not give you one when you're a top fan? Stupid YouTube being stupid. Rightio. I'm gonna have to study this schematic tonight, I think. I'll say that, then I'll go home and stare at the wall for 2 hours and forget all about it till Tuesday. Sounds like a plan, eh? So all the brain boxery under this metal box. Those P873 Vactrols are the issue, unobtainium. P873, yeah. It looks almost like 6, like these are repros, eh? Looks like someone might have actually made them themselves, perhaps. I wonder if we can make our own, Legend. It might be on obtainium, but it's not fucking rocket surgery, eh? We know what they are. Whether or not the twitchy master circuitry will work with them, if we make reproductions, I'll have to take some measurements and find out some parameters on them, and we could maybe recreate some. No, it doesn't look 3D printed. It looks like there was a tube, and they've filled it with resin. Like a bit of PVC tubing or something, and they've filled it with resin, maybe. Probably due for a recap too, considering, I think they're, dated 2001. That Nichicon down there. What are the mess of, they're Nippon Chemicon actually. Got a date code on there. 504. 0225. Okay, so that's 2002, 25th week, I guess. And that would make sense with the 0108 down here, because that's 2001, 8th week. And the radials 2002, 15th week. And this looks like V-share down here, 021. Is that 2002 first week, maybe? Dunno. So yeah, I mean, it's 2001, but that's 24 years ago, eh? Fuck. 2001 capacitor plague era. Yeah, you can make them, you just need to match up the LDR ratings to get them fit perfectly against the LED. I've made 2 for Neutron 3 pedals. Match up the LDR ratings and get them to fit perfectly against the LED. I've seen people that have sanded, you file the end off the LED and then super glue that to the face of the LDR and then resin fill around that. That way none gets in between. You got a flat face there, and it won't be affected because it's already sealed out by the cyanoacrylate. and you could glue two 3mm ones right next to each other onto a hang on, is it one L? No, it's one LED. It's one LED and two LDRs, isn't it? I don't even know. I guess that's the first step, learning. So I'll look into them over the weekend and measure first to make sure that's what is wrong. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Happy days. The other unobtainium thing. Oh fuck! I start yawning. I think is the pot, the dual concentric MEC or whatever branded pot on the front panel. Yeah, pretty low tech units even for the time. They were kind of behind their time, to be honest. They did the job, but you know, everyone else had like LCD menus and stuff, and they were still using this crazy fucking old school logic and all that. Love my Beagle Sound Lab unit. What's that? Transformers loose. Just finger tight. I love how they put the regulators right up against the filter caps too. So they cook them. Luckily they're Nichicons, good caps. One LED, two LDRs, yeah, so that's a bit trickier because normally the LDRs are bigger face than the LEDs, so you'd probably have to put a some setting resin in there or something. It'd be messy and annoying, that's for sure. What year is that? I think it's like 2001. Oh, here we go, 1002. And all the date codes on the caps are early 2002, late 2001, so that all adds up. Oh, he was the Mutron inventor, right. Alright, legends, I might go and see where my wife is and what she's doing. And, I don't know, talk to her or something? So until next time, I'll, as I said earlier, see you in the chat on Lyle's stream in a matter of hours. 4 AM. Fuck. Might have to watch that one later. Need some sleep. Anyway, thanks for joining us, legends. Just a quickie. And take it easy. Have a good weekend.